Hello, everybody. We're back with another guide. As you can tell, I'm joined with my co-host on the channel, Mr. Casey. Would you like to say hi? He's playing his ear. The reason he's playing his ear in this little guide is we're going to be showing some interesting things you can do actually against his ear. This is more supposed to be for jungle Kha'Zix. The only issue is you're not allowed to have smite on this map, and I really didn't want to wait 10
I'm having trouble.
10 years for 10 years for this to basically happen. So we're gonna start off like always. We're gonna start off with Kha'Zix, his stat line. We're gonna go through his abilities. We're gonna go through the ratios, the damage, and everything he basically does. And we're going to show some combos. And
Ow!
we're going to show some combos and yeah, so let's start off with Kha'Zix. Level 1 Kha'Zix has 572.8 health. He gets 85 per level. He starts with a base damage of 55.208, gets 3 per level. Um, he has a base attack speed of .668 plus 2.7% per level. He has a base movement of 350. He has a health regen of 7.51 plus 0.75 per level. He has 27 armor level 1. He gets 3 per level. His magic resist starts at 32.1 and gets 1.52 per level.
Just
So,
realized now that I didn't put any points on my E yet. Yeah.
so that is basically his stat line. So let's move on to his passive. His passive is Unseen Threat. So you can see it up on me. Casey, come here real fast.
Hold on.
Or get some health, yeah. So Unseen Threat is a base damage of 55. I don't think it goes up at any levels. It goes off your ability power just as well. So you can see it. You can also tell, Casey, you can see how my claws are glowing?
Yeah.
So basically, if you're ever playing against Kha'Zix, you can tell if he has his passive up because his claws will be glowing. So if I come over here and I attack him, you'll see a bunch of little dots. If you look at my claws now, they are not shimmering anymore. So the way you restack your passive is you walk into a spot where they don't have vision, and you can see it's back up, and my claws are shimmering once again. So if I come over here and I just bop Casey, it's gone, and once I go in the bush, they are up once again. So it's a really great way to check if the enemy has wards in a certain location, because you can just go and walk into the bush. If you don't have your passive up, then you can go. So Casey here, walk in this bush. So I'm gonna attack Casey. So I don't know where he is. If I come over here and I walk in the bush, my passive won't go on because he has sight of me. As long as the enemy has vision of where I am, then my passive will not activate. Next is Taste Their Fear, which is his Q. This is your primary damage source. Basically, Casey, go over to the health station. Your health
Which
station.
one?
Yours. Yep. So as you can see, at least in this skin, Casey has this circle around him that is indicating he's isolated from all allies. If I go over there, all of my abilities get increased damage on him. And the base damage, if you don't have your evolved, is 70 at level 1, and it goes up to 170 damage, and it has 120% attack damage ratio for scaling. So this is always your primary thing to scale first. When you evolve it, you basically just double your damage completely on it, and you increase the scaling. Instead of 120, you increase it to 156% of your AD. So try not to poke you, Casey. Next, you have Void Spikes. That it has a bunch of different images depending on what skin. If you're regular, you just shoot out spikes. If you're mecha, you shoot out rockets. For me, I just shoot out what looks like to be a crystallized shard. This deals 100% of your AD along with 80 to 200 damage. As far as the healing goes, it is based off your AP ratio. Max healing it can give you is 160 plus 50% of your ability power. So it is a decent heal. It's your primary heal in jungle. Next you have Leap, which is that. It's just a little leap. Until you get level 11, it's not really too significant. Um, but it's 65 damage and it goes up to 205 damage. It has a 20% AD ratio scaling. And when you evolve it, basically it more or less doubles the range, and you can reset it when you get a kill or an assist, basically like Katarina. Evolved Void Spikes just gives you 3 Void Spikes. It doesn't really increase the damage, but it does slow the target. So it's not too significant, but it can still be pretty decent. If your team doesn't have a large amount of poke ratio, then you'll normally be getting that as your third evolved. Lastly, you have Void Assault. So Kha'Zix, if you don't evolve it immediately, Kha'Zix gets 2 charges of a Invis. So I'm gone. I'm back. This also procs your passive. So you can auto attack once, Invis, auto attack again, and basically your passive is back up for each time you go Invis because they lose sight on you. And as you see here, or as you saw earlier, when I level up my ultimate to level 2, I basically get another evolved. It changes your character model. So, Casey, I'm going to have to kill you now. So, I'm going to jump. So, something you can do that's fun with Kha'Zix, you could jump, and you can actually proc your Tiamat, Hydra, and Void Spikes. Well, Void Spikes when you land. You can proc all of that in the air. And let's show you guys once again. I'm going to jump to the back line. So, mid-jump, it will proc Tiamat wherever you were directly over. Also, as you saw when I killed Casey, it automatically reset my leap from it was at 9 seconds directly down to 0. Basically, this is going to be your engage and disengage. And, yeah, this is where normally all his combos start. But before we get into the combos, let's talk about Kha'Zix, runes, and masteries. If you're playing jungle Kha'Zix, my preferable runes to run is 12 magic resist, 9 armor, and 15 damage. You don't need attack speed because it's not really that useful, especially when you're just constantly throwing out your Q. But the flat damage, the flat armor is all very strong, so that is the best normally, and your heal basically will let you stay in there to get blue buff, red buff, Krugs, and wolves. I normally skip raptors on my first go around. And then as far as masteries go, it is 12 and 18. Thunderlords is the best tier mastery on him because you can proc your abilities at such a fast rate. Thunderlords always has a chance to go. And we will show you guys that in 1 second. Alright, so I have Thunderlords up. We're going to wait for Tiamat and Void Spikes to go up. So the fastest thing to do with Thunderlords you can do is you can jump, Q, and as soon as you land, well, apparently my Q didn't go off. As soon as you land, your Void Spikes will be shot out. Void Spikes are normally what's going to be proccing your Thunderlords or your Q is. But as you saw from the combo, you jump, Tiamat or Hydra, Void Spikes before you land. You missed.
Whee!
Void Spikes before you land, and Q basically on impact. To show you once again, because Casey is healed up. Just need Tiamat. So, you jump, Tiamat, and then I went with my Q instead. The Q still procs it, but yeah. So, now let's talk about something that really isn't discussed, Kha'Zix isolation. So, as I was telling you earlier with his Q, isolating a target does mean you do have to kill any minions around him or allies. Jungle creeps do not count. So as you can see, he is completely isolated. If I were to go over, Q him, it deals more damage, and it deals damage based on how much he's missing. If I want to basically in a team fight, if I wanted to single him out, you have to either scare tactic them to leave their team, or they have to be pressured to leave. And as soon as they leave, you just jump in, stalk them, and you bop them. So we'll let Casey live this time. But yeah, those are the basics. So now we'll just wait for Casey to heal up, and we'll talk about some combos you can do with him. We'll actually be going over to Summoner's Rift too soon to show you some things you can do with Kha'Zix on there. So, alright. Well, Casey, you're good enough health. So, real fast, one thing. Casey, can you ult real fast? So, one thing about Kha'Zix jump, you can't jump over it. You can't jump over Azir's wall. Yes, you go completely over the ultimate. However, Riot makes it more or less saying you don't technically. Even though you can see there is jump distance. So, what you should do if you see an Azir, just either walk around it or flash it, and then basically just go in, and you missed everything, and then we'll just poke him real fast. So we can go invis,
Got it.
and basically you get an empowered auto attack. So level 16, it does go up. I was wrong, but 16, it does go up to 170 damage. And this is going to be the last evolve. So, like I was saying, if you're fighting against a very poke-heavy team and you don't have much poke, you'd max your W. If you max your ultimate, you basically just get a third charge, which is just another passive, increases movement speed, and you take less damage from area of effect. But just for this, we'll show you what the W looks like. On Summoner's Rift, we will show you what his ultimate looks like. But yeah, the damage from his W will not stack on top of itself. So if you hit one target, you can't hit the same target. But this is what it looks like. So if I shoot Casey with it, it reveals him for 2 seconds, but that's about it. So, yeah. And now Casey's just going to show you his death animation as I sit here and spam laugh. So, that is the Kha'Zix guide as far as general Kha'Zix goes. And now we're going to go on to Summoner's Rift, and we'll show you some tips and tricks that you can do with him on there. Alright, thank you guys for watching part 1, and I'll see you guys in part 2. Bye.